Bob Coftree checks his mirror for more than just traffic. The driving instructor has to know exactly who's behind him after being stalked by a former pupil. It began days after she passed her test.
Quite late, about 11, half 11, text came through on my phone from this individual. Part of me wished I'd failed, because then I would have got to spend more time with you. I actually threw my phone down onto the couch and I said out loud to myself, do not reply.
That's a frightening message.
That is. The phone calls started coming. It would always be, please come and speak to me. I don't want to hurt you. She followed me home, ringing the doorbell, trying to phone me up, trying to texting me, please open the door, please come out and speak to me. I'm absolutely terrified because I'm looking out and I'm thinking, I'm a prisoner in this home now.
Bob was forced to move house, keeping the new address secret. His stalker was convicted and got a suspended prison sentence. But not every victim gets justice or even the help they need. 7 years after the law was changed to make stalking a crime, experts say many cases are still ignored or downgraded by the authorities.
People just don't feel that they can go to the police. They don't feel it's serious enough. They don't think that the police will perhaps take them seriously. Oh, there's some there, look. I think we might have missed those.
The officers Dr. Jane Monkton-Smith trains in mock crime scenes leave truly knowing the potential consequences of stalking. A world leader on the mindset of stalkers and how to stop them, she believes society doesn't take it seriously enough.
A lot of people think that stalking is about lost love, and they think that it's harmless and it's just about somebody who's heartbroken. Stalking is nothing about that at all, and it's a great mistake to even think that. It takes away all of the risk, and it takes away what the actual motivation behind stalking is.
I don't think I'll ever not relive that anxiety that I felt.
In Carla's case, the motivation was control by a possessive ex. To escape, she fled to another part of the country, telling no one where she'd gone. We've changed her name to protect her identity. The stalker tracked her movements, bombarded her work with false claims of theft, copied her front door key. Champagne and a card left in her empty house was just the start. He came back when she was home alone.
I heard a car come into the drive, so I looked and saw his car in the drive. He knocked on the door, which I ignored. My key was still in the lock, so he managed to wiggle it from the other side that the key fell out, and then his hand was through the door. I just said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Oh, hi, it's me. I just want to talk." It is scary, and it's certainly not, as some people I think imply or insinuate, flattering, and that they would enjoy that very much if someone showed that amount of dedication to them. But
were you told that?
Yes. Yeah.
So, the evaluation.
A specialist team of police and mental health experts want to ensure no one thinks it's flattering. This dedicated unit in Cheshire, one of 3 nationwide, trying to reshape attitudes. Too often, they say, stalking's trivialised in films, songs, even greetings cards.
Victims will describe it as mental rape. Well, we don't joke and make greeting cards about rape, but we're quite happy and comfortable to do that with a potentially homicidal behaviour. We find ourselves having really to strive to change hearts and minds and give people an insight into what it's like to be stalked, because we can't show them photographs of mental scars and trauma.
Trauma which can't be fixed for Bob, Carla and thousands like them. Where they work, where they live, how they feel will never be the same.
Some startling stories there, and Rob's here now. And Rob, there's an issue too, isn't there, with people who have been stalked who don't think it's serious enough to report it to the police?
Yeah, an awful lot of people I've spoken to over the past few weeks didn't call anyone initially because they just didn't think that anyone would believe them, and they weren't looking at it as a pattern of behaviour. A lot of people try to brush it off initially, and that's borne out by the research. An expert told me it can take up to 100 incidents of stalking before somebody calls the police. Now just think about that, 100 times that you've got a letter, that you've got a phone call, a message, or someone's followed you. That's frightening. And it's also because stalking itself is a frightening word. One woman said to me, I didn't want to admit I was being stalked because stalkers kill people, and that plays into people's thinking about this. The police say, though, don't think about calling, just pick up the phone. Right across the northwest, they say they will take it seriously, they will help, they've got specially trained officers, they want to stop this from happening. And you can either call them or the National Stalking Helpline. The number's on screen right now.
Rob, what are the experts saying here? What's the stalker's motivation?
The motivation is different for each stalker. That's what the experts say. Is it down to control? Is it down to generating fear? Is it about wrecking somebody's life? But no matter what, it's about fixation and obsession. That's always there. Let's say a stalker leaves a bunch of flowers for somebody at their workplace or on their doorstep. Some people would see that maybe as a pleasant gift. They might even romanticize it, but you have to think differently, because the stalker may have traveled hundreds of miles to leave that. They may have spent weeks researching the address to leave it at. They may have looked online for days on end trying to find flowers that send a particular message. There's nothing romantic about this at all. Later in the week, we're going to meet somebody who's been gang stalked by a gang of people. Frightening story, and also look at how our digital world has made this an awful lot worse in some cases.